Jackie Aguilar is the Director of Education for Natural Womanhood. Jackie is a trained fertility care practitioner, instructing women and couples in the Creighton Model, and a certified Sympto-Thermal Method instructor with the Couple to Couple League. Jackie also holds a degree in marketing from Texas A&M. As a former Zumba instructor, she enjoys salsa dancing with her husband, with whom she has 5 children. Join us in welcoming Jackie Aguilar to the NFP Podcast.
Welcome to the NFP Podcast, where we explore the empowering world of natural family planning. I'm Amy Smith. Join me and my co-host Emily Appledorn each week. Together, we're here to dive deep into the science, the stories, and the spirituality behind NFP. Every week, we push back against the free love culture and advocate for a culture of responsible love, where intentionality and respect are at the forefront of family planning. Join us as we discuss everything from the practicalities of charting and fertility awareness to the profound impact NFP can have on relationships and communities. Whether you're new to NFP or a seasoned pro, our podcast is your go-to resource for honest conversations, expert insights, and real-life experiences. So grab a friend, settle in, and get ready to be inspired. This is the NFP Podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today, Emily and I are super excited to have on with us Jackie Aguilar. She's the Director of Education for Natural Womanhood, and she's going to be sharing with us a little bit about one of the projects that Natural Woman has going called Period Genius. So welcome to the podcast, Jackie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So why don't you start first, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the world of fertility awareness and NFP, both personally and professionally.
Sure. It really started when we were in marriage prep. We went to our marriage retreat, which was like a weekend thing. And they mentioned, really quickly, the Catholic Church teaches NFP. And that was it. Moving on. And I was like, well, what is that? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know what NFP is. And my mom had used the pill, and I had gone through public school, and my education had been, if you're responsible, you use the pill. I don't know. That's all I knew. So my husband comes from one of 11, and I'm one of 2. And I was like, I'm not sure, Mama. I don't know. I don't know what you're expecting. I don't know. So I'm going to go get a prescription for this pill thing, but when we get married, so that, we can figure this out. I don't know, whenever we're ready. And so a month before we got married, I went and got a prescription just from my, general doctor, for birth control. And, and before we got married, we were, doing our best to be chaste and be good Catholics. Like, we knew that part, like no sex before marriage. And, but it was hard because we were young and we were attracted to each other. And, he was in the army and he was in his uniform. He looked really cute. And so I remember having all that desire and feeling like wanting to be intimate with my husband, but not, but restraining that out of what we believed was right. And by the time we got to our honeymoon, I had started taking this pill, and there was like something was different. Something had changed, and I was not attracted to my husband. I didn't feel any desire to be like intimacy was really awkward on our honeymoon. And for the next several months, I just wasn't feeling anything like I felt before. And I was really let down, because I thought marriage is going to be so great, and we're going to be able to do all the things that I wanted to do before, but now but we couldn't, and now we can. And so it's going to be great. And it really it wasn't, just kind of a letdown. I felt very frustrated. And I think he was kind of frustrated too. And so we weren't sure what was going on, but I started to think in my head about, okay, what do I want for my family? I did the math. I want at least 3 kids, and I want them 2 years apart, and this is how old I am. And so I was like, oh, no, we should start having babies now. I finally thought through that in my head. And so I said, well, I don't like the way I feel on this anyway. Let me just stop taking it. So I finished my pack in December at the end of the year. And then I figured we'd try for a baby in the new year. And the moment I stopped taking it, it was I don't know, this light switched on again. And I could see my husband again, I was like, oh my gosh, like the attraction and the desire, it all came back. And like, I don't know, intimacy got so great. And, and like, I don't know, that just led to communication. It led to like all these beautiful things, the walks after dinner. And I don't know. I was like, that was really weird. Like what happened there? Like what was this little blurb in our relationship? Because our relationship was great when we were dating and engaged. And then it just kind of like it fizzled out for a little while there. And then it came back. And we got pregnant, and we had our first daughter, our one free baby in the Army. And, and afterwards I was like, okay, I don't want to go back to what I was doing before. I did not like the way I felt on that. And we just, God kind of sent us some signs. I mean, that's the only way I could explain it. There was this midwife on post that didn't prescribe birth control because she had some kind of weird beliefs. And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, well, what does she believe? It's just medicine. Why wouldn't she prescribe it? I don't get it. What beliefs does she have? And then there was a friend from church, from like high school years, we had known each other. And she said, oh, you should take this class. And and she just suggested that there was this, and I was like, yeah, she had learned to chart her cycles since she was a teenager, and she was trying to explain it to me. And I was like, what? This is like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what you're talking about. But I knew, okay, clearly there's some knowledge that I am unaware of. There's something that I'm ignorant about. And so, yes, I want to at least be educated and know before I make another decision about my family planning, my health, whatever. So we took the couple to couple league class that was like down the street. And, we sit down in the class. I don't know how much detail y'all want, but, okay, we sit down in the class. And the couple that's teaching, they introduce themselves and they say, we have 6 kids and we're pregnant with twins. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And my husband's like calming me down, like, just sit down, let's just hear them out, and they start going through all the science, and I love science. I took a lot of genetics in college. I mean, I love science. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, oh, there's only this small window where I can get pregnant every month. Oh, like that would have been helpful. Somebody could have told me this, maybe, I might have made different decisions if I would have been, had full knowledge. And, so anyway, we started using, the Sympto-Thermal Method at first, and it worked great for us. I always had regular cycles. So it worked really well. I was big on having kids when I was young. I mean, we didn't get married till I was 26, but anyway, I thought I want to be a young mom. So our next 2 babies are March babies because my birthday's in April. So, I wanted to be 29, not 30, 31, not 32 but I mean, there's a testament to the fact that yes, you can time your conception to the month. It does work really well. But I probably shouldn't have been such a control freak about it. But anyway, that was, in my young mind, how I processed it. And yeah, but I guess once I realized, oh my gosh, this knowledge, it transformed my marriage. It transformed, I mean, the way I knew that I could plan my family and not have to deal with like side effects or having to worry about things that I need to put in my body. That was really empowering to me as a woman and to us as a couple. And I thought everybody should have at least the right to know this. I mean, maybe they still choose something else, that's fine, but to not have this information at all, I think is a disservice or an injustice to women. And so I thought, I need to make sure that people know this. And we met Gerard, who had just founded Natural Womanhood. And so we've been volunteering or on the board or in some way involved with helping him spread the message. Now I'm working part-time now that my kids are a little older.
So you went to couple to couple league after having your first, and then you started to use the Sympto-Thermal Method to have the rest of your children. And you have how many children right now?
Well, I have 5. We switched after the first 3. We switched to Creighton because we were having secondary infertility issues. And
okay.
Yeah.
So secondary infertility after the 3rd, and then you moved to the Creighton Model method. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what was your husband's, I'm curious, like what was your husband's attitude towards, you using the pill, coming off the pill, then using natural family planning? Was he equally excited to find this and immediately saw the benefits of your marriage, for your marriage and your relationship? or was it different for him?
I think he grew up kind of in a family where communication and affection were kind of limited. I mean, there's 11 kids, not a lot of time with your parents, 7 boys. So he slept in one bedroom with 7 guys. Yeah, I mean, they were very, lower income, very, very humble people. And so he was really clueless. He was like, okay, whatever decision you make is fine with me. I don't know any different. And uh, he was just an excited young man getting married, ready to have lots of sex. And, so if this just meant that made it possible without any kind of, concerns, then fine by me, and that was his posture towards it. But I mean, I think he quickly realized like that I wasn't feeling as into our relationship as he was. He was, enjoying physical pleasure. That's not hard for guys to do, but I wasn't. And that was kind of, I mean, he genuinely loves me. He wants to make me happy, but he didn't know how to, or what was wrong, or how to make that work better in our relationship. And so he just felt kind of, lost and like helpless in not being able to do what he thought he could do as a husband. Like, I promised at the altar, I'm going to love you and I'm going to be the best husband ever. But for some reason, like, it's not working. I'm not making you happy the way I thought I would. And I don't know how, to. And so when we found this class, he was very supportive, and he was very like, I'll put the thermometer in your mouth. I'll chart, don't, like, well, don't worry, we'll figure it out. I mean, because I was still very like, I'm not sleeping through the night. I have to nurse a baby all night. I was all kinds of objections. I don't even have a period because I'm still breastfeeding. So what do they want me to chart? I had all kinds of objections, so he was kind of the, let's just see what happens. Let's stick with it. He was very supportive. And the more, he saw my cycle come and go, the more he was like, ooh, I can tell you when to, like, I know you're worried about the baby and you're worried about other things, but hey, you're going to start your period, just so you know, like he would tell me, because he was watching the chart, because he's a little engineer and he likes his little graphs, and, and then it was like, oh, and I also noticed that you can really appreciate a foot rub at this time of the month. And, oh, I noticed that I'm not going to invite over any family right now because you need your space. And, oh, I know, and just more and more, he was like learning like how to make me, I don't know, happy, in the sense of like how to serve me based on what I needed when I needed it. And that felt really good. And then I just wanted to like reciprocate that love to him, because I appreciated how much time and effort he took into getting to know me and wanting to serve me in that unique way. Yeah.
I think 2 things came to my mind when you're sharing. One is the impact of the synthetic hormones on women's sex drive, our mental capacity, the synthetic hormones that are found in the pill, and how the impact that can have, and then the impact on our physiology, and then how we interact with our spouses. And I think that's not something that I've heard many people share when they share their story, that they've actually noticed a significant difference. Before I started taking this, I was very attracted to my spouse. I started taking it and I was just not interested. I was not feeling my best, and not necessarily like been over sick, to my stomach, but just something is off here. Like I'm not interested in you, moody, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then to stop the pill and to notice, oh my gosh, wow, now I'm more interested in you. And it's somewhat of a blessing, Jackie, because some people meet their spouse on the pill.
Yeah.
Right. We've heard these kind of anecdotal stories that you meet your spouse while under the influence of synthetic hormones. You get married, you get off, and you realize, I'm not that attracted to you. Like, that wasn't just a pill thing. That was like a you thing and a me thing. And I mean, sad, right? Because now we're married.
Yes.
So you have to decide what to do there, like work through that, So anyway, I appreciate you bringing that, that truth up and sharing that part of your experience, because I think it's something that's somewhat underrated. And I think some people might brush it off to say like, oh, that doesn't really make that big of a difference. It's like, no, it can affect who you're attracted to and how you're attracted to them. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the second thing, when you were sharing about your husband, I think, again, one of the cultural kind of things you just hear all the time and don't really question too much is that, men just want to have sex because it feels good to them. And I think your story highlights, I think, the deeper truth, which is men want to have sex with their wives because they want to enjoy their wives and they want their wives to enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think men really get great pleasure from a sexual act when everyone's enjoying it together. And we're all married. So, and everyone's shaking their heads. I know no one can see like the visual here, but we're all like, it's true. Like, my spouse has told me like they enjoy it more when we are enjoying it together. They don't want to be enjoying it by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's unless you're like a complete jerk, which those do exist out there, right? Or doing some, you're a sexual, criminal, right? Like those people. But like, on a whole, as like they were designed to enjoy this, to enjoy it with another. It's not an isolated thing. So anyway, great things. Yeah. Thank you, Jackie.
Yes.
It's great.
I definitely agree that he's expressed that same sentiment to me. He's like, I enjoy it. Yeah. I love when we're together, when we're synced in this, and so,
Right.
It's worth it to me to know that you're enjoying it because then I enjoy it even more. Yeah.
Right. Which makes sense. I mean, and all the other aspects of relationship, family life, it's not fun to just have fun by yourself or, to do something and have somebody just kind of watch you and observe it. Right. It's even with our kids, right? Like, you give a gift and you want to watch them open it. Like, you want to enjoy someone else enjoying something. So the same is true here. Okay. So you learned couple to couple. Now you guys are using that in your marriage, and then you switched to Creighton because you had secondary infertility. Maybe you can just tell us a little bit more about that. So how did you learn that you had secondary infertility, and how did you find the Creighton model?
Yeah. We moved to Houston for a little while. My husband's job was there, and in San Antonio, we're surrounded by family, like both his family, my family live here. And so I felt very supported. I was like, oh, I can have babies because I have grandma and grandpa and I have all the help, all the tias and everything. And in Houston, we didn't have that, community. So I felt like, I can't have a baby because what if I get sick? Like, who's going to take care of my kids? And so we just went straight into like avoiding mode. We were avoiding for a couple of years. And then but then we met a church community. We got involved. We were, we weren't isolated anymore. And I was like, oh, we can have babies. Like I have friends. Yeah, I have mom friends. They got my back, and,
Right.
And then we started, and our son had gotten older. He was, almost about to, he's 4, almost about to go into kindergarten. So I was like, this is a piece of cake. So we started trying to conceive and like nothing. And I was like, wait a minute. It was like the moment we picked a fertile day, we got a positive pregnancy test. That's how this works, and it wasn't working like that anymore. And so I was like, okay, but what's going on? And then they had an NFP mass at the cathedral downtown. And so it was all these people involved in the NFP world, like met downtown. And there was a reception after, and I started talking to a Creighton instructor. And honestly, I had not heard of Creighton before. I just knew couple to couple league. And so she told me about, and there's these medical applications for it. And okay, well, I want you to teach me. And so she started teaching me. And the very first month, she put me on the vitamin B6, 500 milligrams slow release, right? Because I had limited mucus, which I hadn't really even paid attention to because I've just been taking my temperature the whole time, right? And we got pregnant that very first month, that very first cycle, just with the vitamin B6. Yeah, but there was clearly some other underlying hormonal issues, and so I miscarried that baby. Like I went to the NAPRO doctors, 15 days post conception. I went and did my blood work, and they told me on day 15 post conception, you're going to miscarry. Your progesterone's way too low. So I mean, it was comforting in that I knew what to expect, and they were right. I mean, I was like, can't you give me progesterone? Can't you anything? And they even let me take home a big prescription of progesterone shots and things. But 2 weeks later, sure enough, I miscarried. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, it was, it was definitely a new experience for us. It was, but I think I guess compared to a lot of other women that I've heard experience it, I feel like it was the best of the situation. Like, one, I was like prepared for it. I was told ahead of time, and I was so early on in the pregnancy, that I think if I wasn't charting, if I didn't have this knowledge, I probably wouldn't have even known I was pregnant. I probably just thought like, oh, I had a really heavy blood clotty period or something.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it was just like, I was glad to know that I had another baby there, And so the NAPRO doctors were like, well, I don't know, Dr. Jamalka in Sugar Land, she's feisty, and she's like, all right, well, you want me to hit this with all the guns, come on, we'll get you, and I was like, well, I don't want to like push God's hand or anything, but yes, so she started kind of doing one medication at a time. She started with the Clomid, and then she started with the HCG in the middle of my cycle, and finally she used, she's like, you do have a little bit of kind of the insulin resistance, the too many tortillas, too many Dr. Peppers, kind of thing. And so, so she put me on metformin, and metformin once a day for a month, nothing, metformin twice a day. And I was pregnant, and we had our fourth baby, and she was,
Good God, congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, so which was, I mean, it was $50 worth of medication, for a few months, and they got me back on track. And even at that, I mean, I was already 36, almost 37. I had her when I was 37, but I was 36. And I didn't realize how like low I had got, like, how kind of extreme my PMS symptoms had got, how kind of high my anxiety had gotten, how heavy my bleeding had gotten, just little things that had crept up on me that I hadn't really noticed because they happened gradually over time. And all those symptoms kind of went away, and I felt like I was 20 again. I felt great. Like, so even if I didn't want to get pregnant, just the fact that they kind of got me to a healthy level hormone rise, like I would want that even if I didn't want a baby. Like, I'd want to feel healthy, and that just felt really great too.
And then did you have a hard time conceiving your fifth?
No, I think that, I mean, we kind of said, oh, look at this little girl. She's 5 years away from the other three. And, she's going to be all alone. They're going to leave for college, and she's going to just be lonely. And so she really needs a friend. And, and so we said, well, we'll just try for 3 months. We're not going to go to the doctor or anything because, we're happy with our family. But if we could have another, that'd be great. And so we tried 1 month, nothing, 2 months, at the end of the third month, we were pregnant. And I think that because they were so close together, they're exactly 2 years apart. They're both June babies. Like, I think my body was still in the groove, still healthy enough to like conceive without a lot of support, from the doctors. So I think that was a blessing. So yes, we were able to have one more, and she's one.
Were you on metformin that whole time?
No. After I got pregnant, other than the progesterone support, I didn't keep the metformin.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I'm sure if I only ate like meat and veggies, I probably wouldn't need that kind of stuff. I probably could eat my way to health, but it sure is we're grateful they have things like that.
Right. So you don't have to do that. Yeah. That's nice.
I can
you and everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. Work my way into it, or do the best I can. The 80-20. I don't know. I try. I really do try. It's hard.
Right. Yeah.
It is.
I
hard.
understand. So, okay. So we got kind of your fertility journey and experience with NFP. So where along the way here did you encounter Gerard and start working with Natural Womanhood?
Mm-hmm. It was, so after Guatemala, after our first daughter was born, and we were here in San Antonio, and I remember I had that thought of like, other people need to know this. Women should know this about their bodies. We started doing little Q&A panels at our parish, and inviting the local NAPRO doctor and inviting our friend from the Office of Family Life. And we thought, this is going to be great. This is how we're going to share the message. And like 2 people would come. Nobody would come, And so then we met Gerard sometime in there. I forgot if he actually came to one of our little panels, or we met him somewhere else in the Archdiocese. But he was like, yeah, I have this vision, for, promoting NFP, not teaching, but just promoting, getting people to the method of their choice. Because I think that it's a marketing issue. It's a branding issue, that women, even Catholic women think this is unscientific. This is, nonsense. This doesn't work, whatever. and he wanted to make he wanted to show how it was scientifically accurate and effective and, highly researched. I mean, and even in the medical aspect of it, that it's so much better for women's health. So he wanted to find a way to get that message across to women. And we said, yes, we're on board, sign us up. Because he has a marketing background. He just has a great way of making things look beautiful or attractive. And that was, he was doing, we knew that if we kind of joined forces, we could probably do a lot better job of getting this message out than we could by ourselves.
So what did you start doing with him at Natural Womanhood then?
So the very first thing he did was he actually came to Houston because we were living in Houston at the time, because we moved to Houston, and he filmed a documentary. He had just recently met one or two parents who, because the very first thing he did was put up a very simple website, right? Just naturalwomanhood.org. And it didn't have much content on it yet, but it was, I guess, unique out there because there was a few parents who had lost their daughters. Their daughters had died of pulmonary embolisms, of blood clots, and they didn't know where to turn. They started Googling, looking, and they found Natural Womanhood, and they contacted Gerard. And one of those girls was Erica Langhart, and her parents contacted him. And she was, I don't remember exactly how old she was, 26, 27, a healthy young woman. I mean, not obese, not comorbidities or anything like that. She was just a healthy young woman. And and the hospital, put down as her cause of death the birth control that she was taking. And, not that it's like super common, but it happens. And so he dedicated the documentary to her and to her family. And he interviewed us as far as like just what it did to our relationship. He asked those questions, and he interviewed a NAPRO doctor so he could talk about medically how this is just as effective as means of contraception, but a lot healthier for women to avoid these side effects, as including the serious side effects like increased risk of cancer and all the different things. And anyway, he put that together and released that, and that had some reach, but then really focused on the website from there on. So then I was just on the board, just a supporting member of the board, and the website started to grow because Gerard was reaching out to writers all over the country, and he found an editor to start producing regular content on our website. And that was kind of our main reach for a long time was the website. And then we started doing podcasts and videos recording. And then maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we wanted to do more in-person type programs. So the first one we came up with was the cycle mindfulness clubs, the college clubs, which are really cool. It just gives women, like young women, a place where they can learn this information. They can feel free to talk about it in just out in the open without judgment, without like worry about, I'm speaking about something taboo or weird, and then also like very self-reflective. It's very healing because the format of the meeting is more like a support group. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Al-Anon or whatever. We kind of took the format from there, where when someone shares, there's no interruption, there's no advice giving, there's no questions asked. It's just someone, everyone's listening in an open posture. And so the person gets to speak out their thoughts and their mind and really reflect. And it's amazing what realizations women come to when they apply, the reality of how their body's made to the choices that they've made and the way that they've perceived their body. They kind of come up with this, oh my gosh, like that's not honoring who I am. And actually, if I do it this way, I'll be really working naturally with what my body's doing. And I appreciate myself so much more, and I give myself grace, and I care for myself. And oh, wow, I really like that. I want to do that for myself. I deserve that. And so it's beautiful to see the young women kind of grow in that way. And then we started working on because we thought originally we wanted that for high schoolers, but it's really hard to get into high school. So we made it a college club, and we put it at that level. But we thought, girls need this information, because even those college girls, they're coming with some like some of them didn't like the way their hips and their breasts were growing, during puberty. And so they developed like eating disorders just because they thought they were gaining too much weight. And it's like, no. That's the way your body's healthily supposed to grow in that way. That's not something that you need to curtail or, but they weren't given any support at that young age to know any different. So anyways, we put together a video course, like short little videos, less than 10 minutes at a time, 10 little videos that you watch with your daughter. When you as a mom know that it's about time right before she's starting, the signs of puberty. So that could be anywhere from the age of 8 or 9 to 13, when you're the way your daughter's growing, and you can give her that information ahead of time about her body so that she's prepared and informed and says, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know why it's going to happen. And I'm confident about it. I know what it means for me. And I know, the value that gives to me as a woman. And so she can have that positive perspective going forward about her puberty, about her womanhood.
I think one of the things that Emily and I have talked about before on this podcast is encouraging people to think about sex, about their sexuality, about what does this mean? Why do I have these desires? What is this for? And I think a lot of times we don't give people space to do that. Like because you're told what something is for or what it means. And oftentimes it's done by our culture that's not very well formed, or by your peers who are not very well formed and informed. And so you're just getting this information, but you're not really pausing to think about how do I feel about that information? What is it like? What does it actually mean? And I think those clubs, it sounds like just provide space for women to stop, and young women to stop and to think like, oh, what is the gift of sexuality? What does this mean? What is the different method of family planning, or tracking my fertility? Like, how is that going to impact my body, my physiology, but also my relationships? And I brought it up before, but I used to teach a class at the University of Arkansas, and it was called Reproductive Health Monitoring, Charting the Female Fifth Vital Sign. And one of my favorite aspects of the class was the relational part. And I would have the students interview couples who used fertility awareness-based methods, because for most of the students, they had never heard about any of this before, And then then they had to write a reflection about it. And the goal was to just get them thinking, like, maybe the method that I'm using to track my cycle or later for family planning, like maybe that's actually going to impact my relationship dynamic, because that's not something that we think about all the time. So there's the physiological part, but then there's also the, interrelational aspect of this. So anyway, okay, that's awesome. Great work. I know Natural Womanhood it's been fun to see it grow and expand. Gerard has done amazing work, and he's formed a great team, brought on so many great people. So I'm going to link in the show notes to their website. We've referred to them before, but I'll link it again, as well as a link to the documentary that Jackie's talking about too, for people if they want to go check that out. So tell us then about Period Genius and how this came about and what it is, all the details.
So, yeah, in order to give the young girls the information they need at the right age so that they grow up with the right perception of their body. Because I guess it's funny, we even use this analogy in the lesson, but it's almost like, my kids do a lot of Greek mythology, the Percy Jackson, all this stuff, but it's like people used to come up with stories to explain natural phenomena that they didn't understand. And I feel like that's what we do as women. Sometimes, we come up with this mythology about our body to explain, or even your mom, Mom, why am I bleeding once a month? Mom, what is this white gooey stuff coming out of me? And we just come up with some random explanation that's not rooted in any factual, science or anything. And sometimes it's negative. Sometimes it's like, oh, you're just cursed and you're a woman and that's your lot in life and whatever, or something, something that really even gives you a negative perception of your whole life. And so we wanted them, no, this is the accurate scientific truth about your body, so that you can understand that the same hormones that cause, the blood to shed out of your body once a month are the same hormones that are necessary to rise, that fortify your bones, that, support your heart health and your immune system, that create synapses in your brain so that you have brain plasticity for the duration of your life, that give, increase collagen production in your skin so you look like, nice and bright and shiny and healthy. And so yay for you, you make estrogen, good for you, just so they have a positive connection to the fact that, like, okay, this is all necessary for my overall well-being, and yes, it's connected to this power to create new life, but it's also something that's just intrinsic to my overall health, and that that can really affect all of me. And, right. So that's the goal of the class. So it's not like a sex ed at all by any means. It's more like, girls, this is what you need to know to understand how good you are and your value and your worth. And we're proving it scientifically that you are this valuable and this worthy of, of respect. And that these are not just, this is something that you should cherish in yourself because of the great power that it possesses,
Is this an idea that you had, Period Genius, or did Gerard come to you, or did you go to him and say, "Hey, I'd like to do this"?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we had all mentioned and moms had been requesting, and but yeah, and then and Gerard kind of helped us formulate it. Okay, you write the scripts, and then Grace will edit it and make it look nice, and we have Lord of This in Mexico City that adds in all the graphics, and so it was definitely a team effort. To put it all together. And I think I every time I watch it again, like I'm more proud of it, or more like, yes, this is what young girls need to know. This is, oh, good. I'm so glad you made that point. I'm not like pat myself on the back, but just, yes. I mean, it really is a good course. And so you've got the 10 short videos, which are really easy and digestible for young girls. And they have all the graphics and the pretty pictures that kind of keep their attention. And then you have 4 PDF guides that come along with it. The kind of a guide for like conversation starters, so that, if you're like a mom that's real hesitant about having these conversations with your daughter because, maybe you didn't chart, or you're just, the way that your mom explained it to you was, really traumatic or something, okay, here's some conversation starters. Here's kind of how to break the ice. So we have that guide. We have a guide to the science. So like, your daughter has any question about the anatomy or physiology that's presented, here's all the answers to those questions. We have a guide to managing periods, right? So here's some just holistic home remedy type things that you can do easily from home to help her manage all her symptoms, and what kind of products to look for, that are less toxic. And then we have a guide to seeing the doctor, right? So if your daughter does experience things that are outside of the realm of normal, we talk about what normal is and what's outside the realm of normal, then this is the kind of doctor you want to seek out. This is, how she should be able to have the conversation, and how you should be able to find a doctor that still honors her dignity and can make sure that she feels comfortable in that situation. It doesn't have to be something awkward.
That's so awesome.
It really is just a space to get everything that the mom and the daughter need. So often, I think Amy would agree, I personally get asked, I'm sure you do too, as a teacher of natural family planning, just what do you recommend? What do you recommend? What can I use with my girls, teen girls? And for so long, I've heard of different things, but I've never had personal experience or someone give me feedback like, oh, this is a really good program. And so I've never had just like a go-to area that can give them all of the information. And when I was looking at Period Genius, I saw the free intro video and I watched it. And I loved that it really is appropriate for all ages, meaning the ages that you're referencing were age 8 and 9 to 13. And it was really well done. And it was really fun, if you will. And very lighthearted, didn't take anything too serious, but it gave the information in such an easy way. And I think that just makes it so attractive, in my opinion. I'm very excited to recommend it, because just by you discussing the PDFs, like all of that information is everything that I would want to say, like, okay, well, if you watch this and she's not having regular periods, don't go run to the doctor, like just all of these things. And so it sounds like all of that information is right there with it, which is that's just amazing.
Yeah. And it comes with that same little basic paper chart that we offer to the college girls. We include that in the science PDF. So parents can print it out for their daughters, and they can just start, making very basic observations about how they feel every day, and, and what they're seeing, as far as bleeding or any cervical mucus. And that way they just kind of can correlate, okay, this is what my energy level, my mood, is doing at this time of my cycle. And this is how I can use that to my benefit in whatever way, that they kind of see the patterns and they figure it out, that I'm not just lost in all my emotions, but I have some awareness of it. I have some control over, in the sense that I can know what to expect. And then, like I know, well, why am I crying right now? I have no reason to cry right now. Oh, okay. I'm going to start my period in 3 days. Oh, okay. I know why I'm crying, and it's okay. I'm not crazy. I'm not anything, and that's, I think, I don't know. I remember the way I felt. That would have been really comforting to me to know that I'm not crazy.
I could see this as being very powerful for groups of moms to do with their daughters, because it's great if, I'm doing it with my daughter in my house. But when you're that age, like, puberty is such a vulnerable time. So much is changing, and everyone experiences it differently. It would just be nice if we had a culture, poor middle schoolers. I feel like those are just the roughest years. And if the culture could shift, and everyone gets picked on, and they pick on each other because everyone feels awkward and uncomfortable. It's like, I used to joke, I substitute taught for a little bit when we were moving. And I was like, everyone just needs to wear a shirt. Like, the middle school uniform should just be a shirt that says, I'm awkward and so are you, and we'll get through it together. Like, this will pass, like, our bodies are changing. We're not quite sure what's going on. We're not little anymore. We kind of want to be little still. We're not big, but we kind of want to be big. Like, you're just in a weird season. And I think, like, if everyone just said that out loud, and we all just knew it and we could accept it and, like, move on, it's like, it's a little bit of a rougher time. It's a good thing, and we need to go through it. Like, puberty is powerful and it's necessary, and it will pass. I think that's something that I did not believe my mom when I was complaining about weight gain and just my body changing and feeling so uncomfortable and jealous of other girls that I saw that looked very womanly. And I did not look womanly until senior year of high school. I just was awkward. And to have this one person in my life who was my mom, who I didn't really care what, I was like, well, there's all these other voices that are so much louder than yours. And just, like, to have this culture of, like, this is just so uncomfortable. And you resort to an eating disorder to try to get your body to change. Like, what is the value in this? I see no value in this. I see only negative. Right? Like, only see negative. And so to have like something that can help foster community, to establish normalcy, and at the same time, like, it will pass, but we don't want to force it to pass, right? We don't want to repress it with a birth control pill, because we need these changes to be taking place. So how can we help support you through these changes? So it doesn't have to be a totally miserable experience while you're going through puberty. Like, there are ways to make it better and to be healthy. And at the same time, like, you will get to the other side. Like, it will come to a pass, and things will normalize. And the extra body fat you acquire during those years, like, it does move around, and it becomes your breasts and your boobs and your hips. And, you need it for a reason. It's not just like your body's not punishing you. God has a design in all of this. So anyway, that's what I mean, this is great. And I hope if moms just use it in the comfort of their home, excellent too. But I think there's just this opportunity to also form community around this. Like, don't do this by yourself. Moms and daughters get together and do, like, a 10-week series. Like, get together and have fun. Like, figure out something fun to do for 10 weeks, do a video a week, and make it a sociable part. Provide space for those conversations with the girls. Like, I think it's so cool, Jackie. I'm, like, so excited for you guys, because that is something I have noticed.
I've kind of piloted it as a group. As a group class. I've done it as a Zoom. Like, I mean, because it's hard to get together like on a school night or something. But anyway, we do it as a Zoom, and and the little girls are just like they're bringing their pets on the Zoom, and and they have all the most incredible questions, about about pregnancy. I mean, because it spurs all kinds of ideas in their mind, and but they have an opportunity to ask those questions amongst each other, and they're learning from each other, and you can tell that when we definitely mute so that they can have individual conversation with their moms, but then we come back together and we share, oh, this is what I thought, or this was interesting that I didn't know before, or wow, men, the bone structure of men's hips and women's hips is completely different, and I didn't know that. Wow, that that the archaeologists know that right away, whether that was a woman or a man, because their bone structure is totally different, and you don't even need blood or DNA or anything. I mean, you could just look at their hip structure. That's it, and those kind of things just blow their mind, or or the what breast milk is made of, and that there's living cells and antibodies, and that moms can pass on the antibodies for any pathogens that babies have, because your body senses that and then produces that and gives that to the baby, and they're just oh man, I'm, wow, I'm amazing,
Yeah.
wow, women are amazing. We can do that. Wow.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And how much, so the program you can access directly through the website, Natural Womanhood, and I'm going to link to it. What is the cost? What do you get? I know you said you get the PDFs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know, the curriculum, kind of give us a little bit more of the nitty gritty, details. How does this actually work?
Mm-hmm. So you can go to our website, where you can go to Natural Womanhood or naturalwomanhood.courses. You'll probably link it there. You can see the whole program. You can watch the first video for free. It was interesting. In one of those group classes recently, there was an older girl, older as far, she was 7th grade. And so she's oh yeah, I already learned this in school. I already know everything, and she kind of saw the first video and was yeah, I know everything. But then she watched the why video, the second video, and she was oh, it brought a whole new meaning to everything that she thought she knew, So I really loved that reaction from her. But anyway, so, for a 12-month access to it. So if you wanted to have access to it for just a year, that's $87. And you get the 10 videos, you get the 4 PDF guides. And then we have a Facebook community that we're still working on, growing and providing more content there so that we can be more interactive with the moms. But that's another benefit to it. And then if you wanted to have lifelong access where it didn't end after a year, maybe you have other daughters coming down the pipeline, and that's a $125 unlimited access, and then you can use it over and over again year after year with the younger girls that are coming up. And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go for it, Jackie. Go ahead.
No, the curriculum or the different videos. I mean, the first one goes through all those changes. Then we do the why, so they understand why all those changes happen. We go through anatomy, so they see how all the parts fit together. The story of ovulation, meaning we talk about how ovulation is the key to the cycle, because that's usually missed in a lot of puberty education. We talk about all the different hormones and how they all work together. We talk about charting, how to track their observations in a very basic way. And then we talk about how to connect what you observe to the way you feel and why you might feel that way. We talk about what's normal and what's not, so that okay, this is okay. If it's outside the range of this is when maybe we need to be concerned and seek help. And then we give them some easy ways to manage their periods. Not just hygiene wise, but also emotionally. How how to work through all those different emotions that they feel at different phases of their cycle, and kind of give them some tools to work through that. And then at the end, we kind of finish up with if this is the way you're made, then what does this mean for your value? What are you worth? And so they kind of make that connection between, if this is what my body's capable of, then what does this mean for how I should be respected and how I should be treated?
I imagine we'll get this question, but before I ask it, I was going to say one of the most valuable PDFs I think on this is seeing a doctor part, so that, because I think a lot of people still aren't aware of kind of standard medical treatment for any reproductive issue that you may present with, especially during the teen years, is oftentimes the birth control pill. And while we acknowledge the birth control pill may help mitigate some symptoms you're experiencing, it is a Band-Aid treatment. It doesn't get at underlying causes. And when we start girls at young ages on that type of a treatment, one, remember, for our listeners who've been listening to this podcast, they know, like we've talked about, that the maturation of the brain and the cycle, and we do not want to interrupt the maturing of this process that takes a year or 2 or 3 from the brain to the ovary. It's trying to set up really good communication. We don't want to interrupt that with a synthetic pack of hormones, because that's just going to send it off even wonkier.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to address if during the maturing process something is actually off, and it's not just healthy, normal irregularity that comes with a maturing cycle during puberty. Well, if there is really an issue, here's how you can seek the type of treatment that's actually going to help your daughter,
Right.
and not just kind of put a Band-Aid over it. That can actually help, heal those symptoms underneath it.
Sure, because I don't know if you experienced that with some of the clients that y'all have taught in the past, but that they do use the pill as, that's what the doctor gives them as the fix for the issues they're experiencing, and so symptoms are subdued and they feel okay for a while, but then they get older, they get married, they're wanting to start a family, and all these issues come back to the surface, because when you can't, obviously, if you want to start a family, you got to get off birth control, but then all the symptoms come back, and probably even worse, and they're struggling to get pregnant, and it's like, because they never dealt with the underlying issue when they were younger, and it just got worse in the background, and now they're finally having to deal with it as an adult, and it's like, how much better would it be if they addressed it right from the very beginning when they were young and got to a healthy state? That way, whatever choices they want to make family-wise when they're older, they're ready to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a commonality between most NFP teachers who've been teaching for more than 1 year is you sit over the course of a year with so many women in their late 20s, early mid-30s who are like, I've been on the pill since I was 12 and now I can't get pregnant. And you're just like, because someone shouldn't have put you on the pill when you were 12 and you should have been on it for 20 years because it wasn't really fixing anything. And so now you want to be pregnant yesterday, but now we got to go back and fix all the things that it was covering up. And yeah, I think it's what leads all those teachers to be like, we need to be addressing this in the teen years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now you have the movement of everybody being like, focus on this. Like, let's safeguard puberty. Let's safeguard ovulation. Just be ovulating the whole of your reproductive life. Please trust us. It's going to make everything easier. Whether you want to avoid a pregnancy, achieve a pregnancy, or just be a healthy woman, ovulate. Be an ovulating woman. That's a good thing. Very healthy. Yeah. The question I was going to ask you that I thought maybe we would get is there a program for boys?
We have we've been brainstorming about it, and we would love to put it together as soon as we can. Resources and all those things, but no, we don't have a course for boys just yet. We've been like looking at other programs, and, like Teen Star is probably the best we've got, where that goes both for girls and guys. But yeah, we don't have one yet, but hopefully soon. Hopefully, if we can garner all the resources we need to put together to make it happen. Because I think that's the question we get from a lot of moms.
Right. It's like, what can we do for boys? Although boys we know are a lot simpler in their physiology. They still have a physiology. And I think it's a great avenue to, introduce them to females, right? Like here's you can start those ages. You can start that conversation very young in a very age appropriate way, highlighting the complementarity. That's so again, right. We can all be going through the awkward together.
Yes, yeah.
Because when you get married, you're not in isolation. You're with the other sex. So it's really nice when you can be understanding each other, you know, and obviously that can go deeper depending on your age and appropriateness.
Yeah, no, we got one feedback from one mom who said, like the 6-year-old son, brother insisted on being in the room while his sister was watching the videos. Like he didn't want to be left out. And then the next day in the car, he was in the, whatever, in the little booster in the back. And he was telling his dad, did you know that fallopian tubes are 4 inches long? And did you know that women are born with all of these eggs in their ovaries? And like, he was just citing all these scientific facts that he had learned in the video to his dad.
It's like the new Jerry Maguire. The human head weighs 8 pounds. The fallopian tube is 4 inches long. That's hilarious, Jackie. Oh my gosh, that's great.
So, I mean, even though, yes, it's not meant for the boys, but I mean, hey, this one little guy got a lot of good information from it.
Right. That's hilarious. He gets married one day and he tells his wife, "Do you know your fallopian tubes are 4 inches long?" Yeah. That's awesome.
That's so cute.
How funny. I know, so cute. Emily, do you have any questions for Jackie? Sorry, I'm kind of taking over the questions.
No, I'm just sitting here. I'm thinking about some of my goddaughters. I'm thinking about so many people that I want to get this in their hands, because I think it seems like a really great tool for moms and daughters. So thank you.
Yeah, and the price is incredible for what you get. Like, that's just so amazing. Very accessible for people.
Definitely.
So awesome. I guess my last question before we go here, since we're about the hour mark, is what if people, do you guys have any setup for, say I'm a teacher and I want to host a group of mom and their girls at my house, and I want us to do this Period Genius video series. Mm-hmm. Is there, I guess I want to do it, ethically too. Like, I don't want to just buy a package for me and then share it with everybody. So is it that, how do you guys have a recommendation for how someone might do that? And is it that everyone comes and they just pay the fee and they just bring all the material, everyone buys it themselves and you just come together as a group, or is there a group rate? What do you have there, Jackie?
Right. So, I mean, technically moms, I guess, could do that where, if they each want to buy it for themselves and they want to watch it together as a group, that's fine. We also have, for fertility instructors, we have a year licensing option, and where, and we piloted it. Nobody's taken us up on the offer yet, but it's a $399 year licensing. And you can host up to 15 moms and daughters at a time. You can do it over Zoom or you can do it in person. And we have a whole business plan written out. So here's the emails that you send out to the moms. And then we have a script for the class. Here's how you should run the class, so that it's so all done. It's so easy. You just invite the moms and daughters to come. And then you, as an instructor, for your time, you charge each couple. You charge each mom, daughter, individually. We suggest about $20 a class, but you can, gauge what's right for your market or your area. And and so that's a resource that's there for fertility instructors if they want to do a group class. It's in addition to all the curriculum, you get that business guide and you get that class script guide.
So two things. So $399 for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said up to 15 moms. So is that at a time? So
yes.
I can run a group of 15 moms and then 10 weeks later, another group of 15 moms.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Or 2 groups of moms on 2 different nights. You have a Tuesday night and a Thursday night class, or however you structure that. Yes. As many groups as you'd like for the year.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's awesome. Is it on the website? I didn't see that anywhere, Jackie.
I think we've only offered it just directly out to fertility instructors that have contacted us about it. Okay. So we have not put that option up on the website, because we ask first that, you send us, you kind of give us a little preliminary, brief application about what method you teach and that kind of thing. And then we send you the link to buy it.
Okay. Gotcha. That's great. Wow.
But if anybody's interested in that, Jackie at naturalwomanhood.org, email me and I'll send you the link so you can check it out.
Okay. Do you want me to include your email in the show notes?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. I'll do that too. That's great. Yeah. So for any NFP teachers out there who want to offer something like this, it sounds like they've already got that program set. So yay. I'm so glad I asked that question.
Yes. Sorry that I didn't mention it sooner.
No, that's fantastic. Okay. Anything else that we haven't talked about yet, Jackie, that you want to leave people with? I'll link to all the stuff that you talked about in the show notes, but anything else? Maybe they already know 3 Marie, just what a resource the website is, but to definitely take advantage of that. And we even have that advice line in the corner. So if anybody ever has any just general questions about, I want to get off birth control and I don't know what to do, or I don't know which method to pick or whatever, they can talk to a fertility instructor
who's one of our advisors. They just put in their phone number, how they want to be contacted, and we'll give them a call right back and kind of just walk them through what the next steps are, what resources are available to them.
That's excellent. Okay, awesome. I didn't know about that, so I'll highlight that too. Advice line. Okay. All right, Jackie, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
So much information. I'm super excited. I hope everyone goes and checks out Period Genius. Share it with another friend. Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. Thanks, Emily. It was so great to talk with you.
That wraps up another episode of the NFP Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you found our discussion enlightening and empowering. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Please connect with us by sending us an email with your questions and stories to thenfpshow@gmail.com. We'll be back next week with more insights, tips, and heartfelt conversations about natural family planning. Until then, love responsibly.